There we go. We're gonna go full screen. All right.
Okay, you can go to the next slide. Okay, so this is our mission statement. Essentially, it's telling you that we want to have leadership in the physical design of the city, and we want to create public spaces that cultivate public life. And we focus on architectural guidance and preservation. And our motto is a city for everyone in the most inclusive way possible. So this is the Atlanta City Design Book. For those of you who are not familiar, the kind of subtitle is Aspiring to the Beloved Community, and it's a guiding document for the city of Atlanta. As a matter of fact, it's part of the city's charter, which was amended in 2017 to include the guiding principles of this book. It follows Dr. King's concept of the beloved community as a lens to guide growth. And the book was written by Ryan Gravel, who is the urban planner behind the Beltline, and also our former planning commissioner, Tim Keene. And the document frames everything we do on the public space team in the Office of Design. So I want you to look at these 5 guiding principles that come out of the book, and it's how, again, we focus all our projects. It's on equity, progress, ambition, access, and nature. And so now I'm going to just share how we're organized to do this work. And so this is how the Office of the Design is broken up. We have the Atlanta City Studio and the Historic Preservation Studio, and then our office support. We fall under the Atlanta City Studio. I'm the team lead for the studio, and this is kind of your collective team who will get this work done. We do a lot of work in partnership with our other studios, and they may chime in when needed on different projects. And so this is the mission statement for the Atlanta City Studio. We are, again, within the Department of City Planning, and one of our main goals is to invite the public into the process of planning to design Atlanta's best path forward. And this is an example of the kind of work that we've done previously through the Love Our Places team. The Love Our Places initiative. This is kind of Love Our Places 1.0, where we were able to go out and implement projects. Of course, 2.0, we're focusing more on the design of those projects. And then this is a program that we run called Experience 404. This is kind of an FYI for you. Once spaces are programmed or structured, we like to activate them. And this is the program that would go out and help you activate those spaces once they're implemented. So before I hand it off to Alexis, I want to let you know that the captions icon is at the bottom of your screen, or it should be, and you should be able to click on that if you'd like captions. You can also use the Q&A icon as you have been doing so that we can respond to any questions that you may have during her presentation. Thank you, and take it away, Alexis.
Okay, so hello everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Alexis Calvin Epps, and I am the program design manager for Love Our Places. And I am very excited that you all are here. So I will say, before we jump in, the first part of this, if you joined us for the first webinar, you might have heard some of this information before, But for those who haven't, I just wanted to briefly do a program summary. Um, and during this portion, we ask that you hold your questions until the end. And then we're going to jump into the application walkthrough. And during that portion, I encourage you to drop your questions as soon as you have them. I don't want anybody to feel left behind. And then, of course, there's no such thing as a bad question. If you have the question, someone else might have the question. And we will be posting this later on our website. So, even if someone in the room doesn't have the question, somebody at a later point might. So, we're going to jump in. So, Love Our Places is a design assistance program brought to the citizens of Atlanta by the City of Atlanta's Office of Design, as Dorian just explained. Together, we intend to design vibrant, sustainable, and culturally centered public spaces. The project team that will work on these projects will be the design team, us, and the community team, which is you all. Your design team will be made up of a project manager, a designer, and then depending on the project type, there will also be, one or two additional colleagues from neighboring departments. So, for instance, if you're doing a pocket park, you might have someone on your team from Parks and Rec. If you're doing a parklet, we might have someone in the team from the Department of Transportation, and so on and so forth. The community team will be made up of the community applicant, who will serve as the main point of contact and the liaison between the design team and the rest of the community team. In addition to the community applicant, it would be any neighborhood group or community org or business that plans to stay with the design, with the project throughout the design process. So let's briefly talk about the kinds of projects we can design together. So there's plaza designs or plaza redesigns. So if you know a plaza in your neighborhood and you think it needs a little bit of TLC, we would be more than happy to help you redesign that plaza. Signage and wayfinding. So if you want a neighborhood gateway sign, or if your commercial district wants wayfinding system, we can assist with that. Pocket plazas, formerly known as parklets. If you're a small business owner and you want a parklet outside of your establishment, we can help you design that. Or if you're just a neighborhood or a community that thinks parklets are cool and you have a great spot for it in your community, we can help you put that together. There's also facade redesign. So if you have a storefront that faces the public realm, which is typically the sidewalk or something of public property, we would help you design that. So public art design. So think, crosswalk art or creative bike parking or murals, things like that we would assist with. There's pocket parks, small parks or urban gardens, vacant lot redesign. So if there's a vacant lot in your neighborhood that you know is owned by the City of Atlanta, and you think it would serve better as a public space than some other development, we would be more than happy to help you turn that lot into a public space. And then shelter enhancements. So think bus stops or seating areas in your neighborhood. Maybe they need additional lighting, or maybe it needs, some aesthetic enhancements, or maybe it's, a covering to protect from the elements. We can assist with those things. So those are just a few of the project types. If you're sitting in this room and you have an idea in mind and you're like, oh, this doesn't seem to fit in any of these categories, do not think you cannot apply. Ask us first. This is the minimum of what we can do. There are several other things that might be one-offs that we can do as well. So ask us. Do not count yourself out, essentially. Okay, so these are the design assistance levels. There are 3 different levels. The first is where the community applicant and community team provides a site and an idea. The design team will take that site and idea and draft a construction concept package, and we will deliver that to you. Design assistance level 2. So say the community applicant and team only have a site in mind and no idea, right? So you're only providing a site. You would, present that site to us, and together the project team will come up with an idea that fits your vision and the need for the community, and we will deliver a construction concept package. And then design assistance level 3 would be the community team only providing an idea. And this one can be a little bit more difficult. But we would take that idea and find a site within your community. And then once we have a site, we will implement your idea on that site, which might require some tweaking, and then present to you a construction concept package. Very quickly, I want to go over what we won't do during this process. This is not construction, so we won't be implementing any project on your behalf. The community team will be responsible for construction, for permitting the project. In addition, we won't be doing any traditional construction administration work. We go more into depth about this in the guidebook. For more detail, definitely reference that. The program will not be funding. So we won't be funding the permit fees. We won't be funding the construction of it or the maintenance of it. We do encourage those with funding to apply to the program because we can design to the budget that you have. But we also encourage those without funding to apply because you can use the construction concept package to get support, community support or financial support, right? And then we cannot guarantee that the final design will be implemented on that site. So if you have your eye on a site, someone in your community might also have their eye on the same site. And so we really do encourage you to talk to the community groups, talk to the NPU and work together, because the last thing you would want is to complete this process and then find out, oh no, someone else is designing on this exact site. So that is what it's not. And then the project schedule. So, as some of you might know, the applications opened on June 3rd, and you have until July 15th to get those applications in. After that, we will be reviewing the applications submitted during August, going into early September. Notification of acceptance or an invitation to resubmit for the following year or thereafter would be mid-September. And then the design process for the accepted projects would start between October 5th and November 13th. And again, this information, a lot of this information is in the guidebook. So, but you can also screenshot what you see if you need to. Okay, so who's eligible to apply? You have to be an Atlanta resident. Period. You have to be an Atlanta resident. And then, of course, Atlanta-based community orgs or groups, private businesses, NPUs are all eligible to apply. You will need an idea or a design for a publicly owned site intended for public use, I should say. In addition to that, we would like you to submit a implementation strategy, a 3-year implementation strategy. And don't get caught up in, having it so firm that you feel like, well, I can't figure that all out, but by July 15th, think more in terms of, how are you going to get there? So, after I get the construction concept package, I'm going to apply for funding in these 3 areas. And then after we get funding, we're going to reach out to contractors to get it built. And don't forget to include your community engagement in that implementation strategy as well. So, we just want you to be thinking long term. We want you to think past the design process and into implementation. And on that same wavelength, we also would like you to submit a 5-year maintenance plan. So again, thinking long term. After it's implemented, how are we going to keep it so that it doesn't fall into disrepair? How are we going to make sure that, it's being taken care of on a weekly basis if that's what's necessary? We want these projects to last as long as the community wants them to last. And so we really want you all to be thinking from A to Z, if you will. Okay, so application limitations. We won't be accepting any more than 3 applications per neighborhood. And that is to ensure that we are um, diversifying who we can assist. We want to reach as many communities as possible, right? Um, in addition to that, if you are a community applicant that's submitting 3 or more ideas, um, being in that role is a commitment, right? So we're expecting you to come to, pretty much all of the design meetings. You're going to have to be the liaison between the community members and the design team, and it can be quite a lot. And so the last thing we would want is for you to submit 3 great ideas and then 2 of them fall to the wayside just because of capacity, right? If by chance this does happen, we will take the strongest applicant. So the strongest application submitted. And then the number of applications accepted will depend on the size of the projects and the capacity of the design team. So if we get a lot of submissions that are smaller type projects, we would be able to accept more than if we get, 30 grand plazas, we would have to accept less. And that's just to ensure that we are providing quality design services to every applicant that is selected. Okay, so that was the program overview. We're getting ready to jump into the application. If there are any questions on that first portion, feel free to ask. And then again, when we're going through this application, drop your questions as soon as you have them. Even if it seems obvious, if you're not sure, I would much rather explain it to you just so we're on the same page so that when you all, I don't know how many people are in here, but when all of you submit your applications, they are like, it's hard for us to select who's going to be the best, right? Who's going to get selected, right? So I will give a brief moment. If there are any questions, drop them now. And then if not, I'll just keep going. Okay, I'm not hearing any questions, so I'm gonna just jump in here. Okay, so and at the end of this review, I will show you how to find the application on our website. And then I will also show you a few other things that might pop up in here. Okay, so the application. This information here is kind of straightforward. So the first name and the last name of the community applicant, whoever is going to be the main point of contact or liaison between the community team, the design team, would put their information here. If they're a part of a business or organization that's applying, then you would select that here. You would put that in here. And anything with a red asterisk is a required field. So if for some reason you fill out most of it and you press next and you see like a big red screen, it's because you've missed one of these required fields. Just want to put that out there as well. And then the street address. So the street address of the business and organization or the community applicant. We want to make sure you're an Atlanta resident. Zip code, same information, your phone number, and then an email address. Please put down an email address that you actually check on a regular basis. That will probably be the main form of communication. And then the phone number will be secondary. Are there any questions with that? Okay, cool. Great. Okay. The project description. So you're going to drop in your site location, um, address. If there is no address associated with the site, you can put in cross streets. You can put in, landmarks. You can put anything that will identify where this site is. It's rare, but sometimes sites do not have addresses associated with them. And then you're going to drop in your neighborhood. And then your NPU. And if you don't know where to find your NPU, you can actually copy and paste this NPU cards site right here. Drop it in your browser and it'll take you to this site. And I'm going to take you to the site really quickly so you can see what it looks like. It'll take you to this site. And then you can drop in your address there and it'll show you what your NPU is. So, and then of course your count is this. I don't know why it's doing that. And then your council district. So it's the same concept. You can copy and paste this site here, drop it into your browser. It'll take you to this site where you can then find your council district. So in PUA, these are the neighborhoods, and this would be your district, right? So I wanted you to be able to find that because I know everybody isn't aware of those things. Okay, so let's go back to full screen. Look, get this guy out of here. Okay. And then project type. So the project types that we just went over in the program summary, they're all listed here. And again, if you don't know which one it fits under, go ahead and select one and we will rearrange it if necessary. Or you can reach out to us beforehand and we will help you select which project type it falls under. Oops. So now we are going on to the project proposal. This is where you really get into the details. We want you to tell us what the project site is or the end or idea. We want you to tell why the site is important, if that's relevant. We want you to tell the story of the idea, how it will benefit the community, why is it important for you all. This is really where you sell the idea and the project itself. And there's a 900 word max. And you can type it in this text box or you can attach a separate document. I know everybody doesn't like typing in these boxes. Personally, I am not a fan. I prefer to attach things. So I wanted to give people both options. Oh, did I skip one? No. Okay. And then you go on to the project site location. So we want to know if it's in a historic district. You might not know that information. If it's in a historic district, I hope you do, but if you don't, that's okay. You can always click not sure and we will go in and double check that information. Have you previously applied to the program? As Dorian mentioned previously, we have had previous iterations of the program. So if you are a Legacy Love Our Places member or you applied to the program previously, you would click accepted to the Love Our Places program. If you applied but you weren't accepted, you can click reapplying. If you've never applied, that is perfectly fine. We just want to know where everybody falls. previously awarded a project. So if you applied and were accepted, did you implement it? Did it, did it have to be on, did you have to put it on hold indefinitely for one reason or another? Or is this not applicable? Applicable. Applicable. Okay, and then we're gonna hop into community support. So you are required to submit at least one letter of support. The letter of support can be from an NPU leader, a council member, a community group, or a business that's located near the site. Now, there is an opportunity to submit more letters of support, and we really do encourage you all to get out and talk to your community, get as many letters as you can, and then attach them to the application. We want to make sure that, if you guys are really serious about implementation, that you've talked to the people in your community and everybody's kind of on board with this, with either this site getting developed or the idea itself or what have you. Each letter should be 150 to 500 words. We want you to get a letter of support, but it does not need to be like a 5-paragraph essay by any means. Okay, and then your implementation plan. As I stated previously, this is where we want you to be thinking for the next 3 years how you're going to actually implement what we've designed together. So think timeline to construction, think about the permitting and the funding of the project. How are you going to get to the funding? If you don't have it, if you already have it in hand, put that in your implementation plan. Already have funding in hand. Once we get the construction concept package, we will then right? This doesn't have to be by any means in concrete, but the better thought out, the more likely you are to finish the project, essentially. And again, same thing. You can type it in the chat box. In the text box, or attach a separate document. And then the maintenance plan. So a minimum of 5-year maintenance plan. When you're writing this out, think day-to-day maintenance. Think about the monthly maintenance, and think about the annual maintenance. Some projects might not need day-to-day maintenance, but might need, certain things annually. Bigger projects might need more in-depth maintenance plans or strategy. So we really want you to think that all the way through. And again, if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat. I cannot actually see the chat, but I think Dorian can, so she will relay it to me.
Not the chat, but the Q&A.
Q&A.
And I can see the Q&A. I cannot see any of your lovely faces. So unfortunately, not even a raised hand will help me. I can only see the Q&A.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to keep rolling. And we can always go back. If you have a question that comes up later, we can always go back. That's fine. Okay, so supporting project information. So this is if you have a site survey, if you have any photos of the site, any idea references, any things that you like that you've seen on Pinterest and you want to submit it attached to the application, any sketches you've done, we want you to attach those here. If you have plans, but you need something a little bit more concrete or needs to be changed, things like that, we want you to submit as much information that'll help us get this project completed and gives us as much information as possible about what you guys are thinking and where you want to take this. The community engagement plan. So the community engagement plan is similar to the implementation and maintenance plan, in that we want you to be thinking not just about, your idea in a bubble, but does this serve the larger community in which I sit, right? And again, this does not have to be professionally written. We just want you to think about, okay, how am I going to engage, my NPU? I know they have meetings every month, or I don't know when their meetings are, but I'm going to find out. And once I find out, I'm going to go to them. And, so just think in those terms. And then a proposed budget. Again, if you don't have funding, that is perfectly okay. If you have something you want us to design to, if you're thinking, okay, well, I think we can reasonably raise, 50 grand, 20 grand, 5 grand. Let's start with that and we'll design to that budget, right? If you have a budget in hand already, of course, we'll design to the money you have. And then if, if you don't have a budget at all, or, you have no idea of um, the amount of money something like this might cost, that is okay too. We'll design, and then if we need to, we'll roll the design back as needed. So if we start designing and it's like, and we come to the design team comes to the conclusion, oh, this is a $1.2 million project. I don't think that's feasible. You guys say that's definitely not feasible. We'll roll it back as needed, right? That's a big number, but I wanted to be very clear. And then after that, we get to the applicant certification page. So you would read through this information, make sure you're okay with everything here. One of the things in here is that you've read through the guidebook and you understand the responsibilities of the applicant. That is very important. And then you would sign your name. The community applicant would sign their name. You will receive this nice thank you envelope. That's how you knew you've submitted your project. And you get like a little PowerPoint trophy. And we're forever grateful. And then this is the submit application button here. So that will be everything. Once you submit, you should get an email confirming that you submitted your application. And then, of course, we will get that email and we will go from there. So that is the application review. I'm going to check in again if there are any questions, any concerns, or is everything clear? Even if everything's clear, can y'all drop "we got it" in the Q&A? And then I'm going to keep moving. Okay, so the application scoring. So this is in the guidebook and it is way more detailed in the guidebook. It's towards the end. So if you already gone through it or you see the guidebook and you're like, I don't want to read all this, you can, kind of pan our page all the way to the back, and it's a yellow page. And it'll explain this a little bit more in depth, but I did want to give you guys this information in a brief kind of overview. So we will be scoring the applications first based on location. There will be 4 points available based on location. We will consider where the site falls on the overall environmental justice index. And then we will consider if it's in a historic or landmark district. Then we will move on to history and community support. There are 12 points available total for history and community support. Whether or not you've previously been awarded or implemented a project with the program. Your letters of support. There are up to 5 points max for the letters of support. There's 1 required, but up to 5 points max. So, for every extra letter that you submit, you do get closer to that total goal. So please, please, please talk to your people. It just makes for a stronger application. And then history with the program. Everybody's starting on the same slate pretty much with the history of the program since it's a new iteration of the program. And then there are 16 points total for the proposal assessment, which is split evenly between the project proposal and the implementation and maintenance plan. And that would total 32 points. So again, as I said before, we will be selecting the strongest applicants. So, we would go from 32, 31, 30, all the way down. And then this is our frequently asked questions slide. This is actually on the this is actually on the application. This is the third page on the application, just in case you have any questions or need a reminder about something. These will be there, and then we will also be putting these questions up on our website along with the recording of this webinar for quick reference. And that brings us to the end of our application review. This QR code you see on the site is to the Love Our Places website. If you haven't gone to it yet, you can take a screenshot, and I'm actually going to walk you through how to find the application and the guidebook on the website. So I'm going to leave that up there for a second so y'all can grab your phones, screenshot if necessary. And then this is also our contact information. The Love Our Places at atlantanga.gov is the email address. And then this is my phone number. If you have any questions that, maybe you didn't want to ask here, you can call me, you can email, and I will try and answer those questions and get back to you as quickly as possible. So we're going to go to the website really quickly. So this is our Love Our Places website. You'll know because it says Love Our Places and it's beautifully blue. And we have a quick little video here for you to watch. It's just a program summary. And then you're going to scroll down, and when you see this image, you'll see the guidebook. And if you click on this, it'll take you to our guidebook. And it might take some time to load. And you can scroll through this. We've tried to make it as user-friendly as possible, but it has a ton of information in here. This is the in-depth application scoring information, and then project types, some resources, and then everything that will be required in the application. So that's the guidebook. And then if you keep scrolling, you'll see our upcoming events. We actually have one this Saturday at Finley Plaza. So you can come and do a community mural with us, and we will have copies of the guidebook on hand. You can ask us questions, etc. And then you're in this webinar, so you don't need that. But this is a recording of our previous webinar. It was just a more in-depth program overview. And then this is where you would actually apply to the program. So you click apply now, it should open, and this is the application. So I think that would conclude all of the information that I had for you all today. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I don't know if you guys can see that. Great. Okay. There's some stuff in the Q&A. Oh, okay. We do have some Q&A stuff. Okay. Let's see. How do we know which properties are city owned? So I'm going to click answer live. So, there are several different ways to figure out if a property is city owned or who owns a site or property. I'll start with the easiest stuff, and then Dorian, jump in if you need to. Like, say if you're thinking about parklets, the street, the sidewalk, anything up into the face of the building is called the right of way. That is city owned property. So if you want a parklet, that's kind of how you would determine that. If it's a plaza or something like that, you can normally go on the website, Google where that site is, and it should tell you. I don't know if that. I think you guys have. I think GIS is a public um, has public access. Um, and so you should be able to see who owns what. The city of Atlanta has a website, just like you would for like a house or something, and you can see who owns what parcel of property. Um, and then also reach out to your NPU planners. They might be able to help you figure out what sites are publicly owned. Think parks as well. Those are City of Atlanta owned. Um, I think that's all that I can think of right now. So that would be how you would figure out that information. Oh, and in addition to that, we will be developing a in the future. We are hoping to develop a one-stop shop map to help you guys figure that stuff out as well. Um, will city planning utilize a weighted criteria for selection? If so, what is the weight? Um, No, there will be no weighted criteria. It will be straightforward scoring per the slide that I showed you of the application. Um, okay, we got it. We got it. Love to see it. We got it. Will the design team advise the community applicant on the required permits? Great question. Yes, we will. So although we will not be doing the permitting for you or handle the permit fees, we will point you in the right direction. So, say you want a walk lane or creative bike parking or parklet or something, and we will push you towards the tactical urbanism permit. If it's something larger that requires a different kind of permit, we will tell you this is what you need to do, this is where you need to go. Um, we will definitely assist you guys with that. Would you consider little libraries? Yes, we will. So little libraries would be, it depends on where they're located. They can be considered like little tiny mini plazas or something in the right of way. So yes, 100% we would be interested in little libraries. Can you please go back to your info when you get a chance? Yes, I will put my contact information back on there. Um, when I'm sharing my screen, for some reason I can't see the questions. So as soon as I'm done answering the questions, I will put my contact information up there for a few minutes so everybody can get that information. Um, NPUH chair. Mr. Lee, if there is a similar application to yours, will they count against each other? Apologies if you answered this. Someone used my calendar. Oh, that's perfectly fine. No, they won't count against each other. If it's in the same neighborhood, um, we will, and if they're super similar, there's a possibility that we might just contact both of you and go, hey, maybe you guys should combine them. Um, or if it's in two different neighborhoods, they wouldn't affect one another. I don't know if that answers your question. Please let me know if that makes things clear. But if it's two projects of the same site, then yeah, we would only be able to select one. Yes. Also, designs include the power boxes being painted. Yes. Yes. So are you talking about the utility boxes, right? Dorian, I don't know. Yes. Okay. Yes. I just wanted to confirm.
Yes.
The little libraries I'm asking about are in Ferguson Park. Yeah, we would be interested in doing little libraries, no matter the location, as long as it's in Atlanta. Okay. Any other questions? Again, we're here now. Please ask. Don't be shy. If you need me to go back to a certain slide, I can. Just let me know. And while we're waiting for those to come in, I will reshare my screen so that do street lights qualify? Um, I don't know
We
if we're
don't,
doing,
yeah, we don't own the streetlights. That's Georgia Power. So we don't
yeah,
really have
so that would
jurisdiction.
be, yeah, that would be a different issue. Um,
And I just want to interject one moment. So if you're
mhm,
referring to like the banners that are on streetlights, we can help design the banners, but you would have to contact Georgia Power to confirm that you can
do
put the
something.
banners up and, you know, and figure out how to get them up there also.
But if you're talking about adding street lights to a actual city street, that unfortunately that's not us. So we wouldn't be able to help you with that. But if you're talking about like a bus stop and you want some additional lighting under a shelter or on a shelter or something like that, we could do that if that helps. Um, Community members are asking me about parks receiving designs. What are their limitations? Um, so I think you're asking me whether or not we can do park designs, and the answer would be yes. And if you're talking about an existing park, we would ask that Parks and Rec come in on that project if it gets selected. What are the limitations? Design doesn't have limitations. I don't know how to answer that one more in depth for you, but feel free to clarify in the chat or in the Q&A. Can separate projects be submitted by the same person representing multiple organizations respectively? Only if you think you have the capacity to handle all of those projects that you submit as the community applicant. That means going to all the design meetings. That means um, when you get like a set of drawings and we're asking for comment, you taking it back to the community, getting those comments, getting their input, bringing it back, keeping track of the design schedules. We really do encourage you to consider that before submitting multiple. But outside of that, there is no limitation. If you can handle two and you're submitting for two different neighborhoods, or you can handle three and you're submitting for two, three different neighborhoods, that's fine. But we really encourage you to consider how much time and commitment that's going to take. What time will you be at Finley Plaza tomorrow, and where is Finley Plaza? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't say the time. We will be at Finley Plaza from 11 to 3, and we will be doing a community mural that we designed, and you can, put your brush strokes on our community mural and ask us questions about Love Our Places. Where is Finley Plaza? Finley Plaza is in Little Five Points. So I can't remember the cross street off the top of my head. Dorian, do you remember the cross street?
Euclid Avenue.
Euclid Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and we will
Euclid and
also be,
Moreland.
yeah, Euclid and Moreland, and we will be celebrating one of our legacy parklets had just finished maintenance and is reopened at Euclid Yacht Club. So that's why we will be there. Okay. As in art, bike lanes, paint the street. Yeah, yeah, we can do bike lanes. We can do if you're talking paint the street like crosswalks. Yeah. Art. Um, we can do public art designs, but we won't be doing any of the artist selection or anything like that. But we can help you figure out where it goes, and what looks good, etc. But for the actual artist selection stuff, we would bring in our neighboring department, cultural affairs department, to help with that stuff. My initiative does community civic work in SW Atlanta. We work several NPUs, MARTA, Artbound, and community orgs, and am in the process of becoming a nonprofit based in Atlanta, but I am not a City of Atlanta resident, DeKalb. Can I still apply? So let me clarify. So it sounds like your organization is based in the City of Atlanta, but you personally live outside the city, and you're asking if you can still apply. Uh, yes,
Yes.
as
So
long as the organization is in Atlanta.
exactly. And when you
Yeah.
fill out the application, put your organization name and address in there as
Yeah.
the for the contact information.
Yes. Okay, that is the last question I see right now. I'm going to quickly share, and I'm not rushing you all. If something else pops up, please. I'm going to quickly put up my contact info though, just for those who might want to share that guy. And then I'm actually going to split my screen so that I can still see the chat. There we go. Is coordination with GDOT required for bike lanes? I'm pretty sure that depends on the street.
It does. So
Yeah.
if it's a G dot street, meaning a state road,
Mhm.
um, then the answer is yes. They are challenging to work with. I would steer away from state roads.
Yeah.
I would stick with local roads.
Yeah. But if it's not a state road, then we would work with Atlanta Department of Transportation, who we work with all the time. And they're easy to work with.
I do want to say if it's if that really is what you want to do, then I believe I can get the contact information for GDOT that you would need, and we can supply that. But in your implementation plan, just make sure you indicate that, you're going to reach out to Georgia Department of Transportation to get your project implemented.
Yeah. Good question. Um, our group is in Atlanta but uses a PO box. Can we use this? Is your group at, well, you said the group is in Atlanta. Yes. If the group is in Atlanta, then yes, you can use it. We would just need to be able to verify that that's where that's where your group is located. Okay. Cool. Okay, so I've put my contact info back up there. I hope everyone can see it. Again, my name is Alexis Calvin Epps. I am the Love Our Places Program Design Manager. That is my work cell, and then that is the Love Our Places email address. Um, and it is currently June 12th, so you guys have about what 4 weeks left to finish those applications. Again, if any questions come up in between now and then, or you get in the application and you've forgotten something I've said and you need it, reach out. Please reach out. Email is probably a little quicker, but if you call me, I will call you back. Sometimes we're in meetings, etc. So we will get back to you. And I'm not seeing any more questions popping up in the chat. I was trying to stall just in case, but I think we are good to go. So thank you guys again for attending this webinar. If you're in the area or if you're not, come see us at Finley Plaza tomorrow. It'll be fun. We'll be there again from 11 to 3. And we can't wait to see all of the applications.
Thank you, everyone.